going to be good. This is going to be really good.
So it is 7:50. I'm Melissa and Jean. And I'm not sure if you've ever wondered if your compatibility with another person is written in the stars. Well, our next guest helps people figure that all out through the use of the important numbers in their life.
Now, in ancient times, this whole practice was used to set up marriages between royalty and the elite. And now we're going to test our compatibility. Yogi Akal joins us this morning to assess our relationship with our birth dates.
Okay, so
good morning, Yogi.
Good morning, good morning.
Do we call you Yogi?
You can call me Yogi.
Okay,
yes.
Yogi.
Remember, the birthday has no superstitious value. It doesn't have a vibration or an energy or symbolism. It's none of that nonsense. It's just the starting point. It's like a pin in a map.
Oh, and then you go out from there.
Exactly.
We have a question for you before you get to our reading. What exactly is a yogi, and how does this whole thing work with that?
Okay. Well, there are many branches of numerology, and I was very fortunate to study a lot of them when I was younger. But then in the 1990s, I was taught the yogic system, which is an Eastern system.
Like the yoga you do?
Well,
or
it's a yoga. It's a
numerical.
branch of yoga. It's the counseling branch of yoga, and it was a secret for thousands and thousands of years because, as you said, it was only used for the elite. So no one else was supposed to know about this.
And now we get to do it.
And now everybody gets to use it because it is the original counseling form of yoga.
Okay.
Yoga people think of course, as meditation or exercise, but there's another branch to it, which is healing and counseling, and that's what this is.
And moving forward.
So for our purposes here, we're going to have some fun with it.
Okay.
But it's really a serious process for people to better understand their lives and heal issues.
So they'd come, they sit down with you, and the yogi would basically map out everything and give them basically the life map almost.
Life map, and also look at any questions or problems they're having, why they're having the problem, and what they can do about it.
See, I told you.
I know, right.
Because we were worried about if there would be something bad, and I was saying, well, maybe this is one of those things where he comes and he tells you, okay, these are your trouble spots, and here's where you have to work through them.
That's exactly it.
Okay,
the whole idea is to know what's the purpose of life. It's the enlightenment of the self. It's the whole progress and transformation of us individually and collectively. So the whole idea is not to point out what's bad, it's how to point out how to get better.
Okay, well, how can we get
You
better?
have our birthdays January 9th and April 7th.
I wrote it down. It's a formula. It's very simple.
It looks like math.
Right,
So what do you
It's
think?
very simple math. Well, the relationship between the two of you is very interesting because you represent two completely different points of view.
Yeah.
One of you represents the relationship with women. That's Jean. Who represents the relationship with the whole rest of the planet?
That's Melissa.
That's Melissa.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. So like the animals and the
Basically,
and the plants?
yes. Anything that relates outside of that. Because to understand and to be able to speak to women is the most important thing in the 21st century. There is nothing more important than that. Because it is the women of the world who are being liberated in this century, finally, after all this time, and permanently, that will change our planet forever.
It's good to know that it's permanent.
It's permanent. It's never coming back
That's
again.
interesting because I would have put it the other way.
Me too. I'm like, so I don't relate with the women. I just relate it with everybody else, the rest of the world.
I'm not saying that you don't relate,
okay.
but it's not your job. Your job is to uplift. And what you do is you uplift and uplift and uplift. And frankly, you're very scientific in your way. You probably don't want people to know that because you're a very cozy type of person. But you're.
I'm just going to listen and I'm going to watch.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
You actually have a very analytical mind. You're very intelligent.
I do have.
And you like a good fight from time to time. You don't mind doing a little bit of battle from time to time. It's not your style.
Not generally, but
it's not your style though. Your style is a little more subtle, and you would like things, if possible, to be more graceful than direct.
I'm all about
and that's
peace.
why it's a good combination.
Interesting.
Now, the timing for the two of you is really interesting because you're working on yourself this year. This is your year where you really need some time to bring yourself back together. Next year, there's more healing, there's more money.
Oh,
and in 3 years from now, you take on some new projects.
Okay.
And you're in a position right now where you are looking at new partnerships. So there are new people. I don't mean this. There are new people that you can align yourself with. People will be approaching you and saying, hey, do you want to do a project together? And if it is of benefit to humankind, it's a good idea.
Right.
If it's for your career purposes, you can only take one. So you have to be very thoughtful.
Because we can't have competition.
No, right.
That's the way that.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have to continue this reading after the show. This has been fascinating.
It's always interesting. You know, when you're working with people, it's usually over a few hours to
Yeah.
look at their questions and their problems, but here we're just having some fun.
But you know what, though? In just a few minutes, there are things that kind of resonate with you and let you know that you're on the right track. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you.
We want to
Really
continue
cool.
this conversation. Now, if you want a reading with Yogi Akal, send an email to bookyogi@gmail.com. It's $250 for an hour, and if you'd like more information on Yogi Akal, go to his website, yogiakal.com. But let me tell you something, just these couple of minutes.
gonna say, you can
we're more
accomplish
than
a
worth-
lot.
Yeah,
Right.
you could accomplish a lot with this. We like this.
I got way more
Thank you.
questions.
It was fun to
me
be with
too.
you.
All right, so we gave him
Yeah.
our
You
know,
birth
Yogi, I'm
dates.
gonna admit, I'm not a believer. I don't think numbers mean anything. I don't think your
They
birthday
don't. You're
means
right.
anything.
You're
so
right.
I'm waiting for you to tell me something about myself that no one else would know.
Well, first of all, you're right. The numbers mean nothing. There's no energy, there's no superstition, there's no vibration to a number.
Okay.
It just means a starting point. It's a point on a map. So your birthday says that's when you begin, and then there's a map of life that follows
All
that.
right, so you know his birthday. What can you tell us about Frank?
Well, first of all, this is a really honest guy, and your job in life is to teach. That's why you're on the planet. You're here, I mean, you're communicating, this is your job right now, but your job is to teach.
Okay.
And you are, and I don't like to use the word spiritual because everybody is spiritual, but it's your orientation. Everything about you is to inspire. And when you do that, it's a very positive process. But when you don't do that, it's immediate and intense conflict.
Could
so
you
you
say
have to do
this
that.
about anyone, though?
Yeah, that seems pretty general.
Yes, I could say that about a lot of people, but this applies specifically to you. So you can, we only have a couple of minutes to talk about something that would normally take an hour. But
Enough about him. What about him? Give me something that would be specific that I would say, aha. Can you do that, or what can you tell me about me? I'm very
won't-
shy.
I won't say the date, but I can put this number of years ago.
Yeah.
You need an abacus or a calculator.
Yeah, be quiet.
How can I help you?
He's talking.
Your life changed. At that point, it changed, and it changed dramatically. There would have been a complete turn, 180 degrees, and it was like an awakening for you. And now, at this stage in your life, you're 9 years away from that second step.
A lot of years.
That doesn't
I mean, I
sound
don't
good.
have. Do I have that many left? Tick tock. Come on. 9 years.
Westerners always do that. Westerners are always going, oh my God, 2 years, 5 years, 9 years.
Well, Yogi,
Easterners
we're in the
think in
West,
terms of
so this
generations.
is something coming up.
Something coming up for you. Do you have children?
I do.
Yeah. Are you planning to have more children?
Yes.
How many children?
Yes,
how
she
many
is.
children do you have?
I have 2, but shouldn't you know that?
There will be 3. There will
That's
be
shocking.
Yeah,
that's a revelation,
not
Yogi.
possible.
That's
But
Well-
God bless you. I mean, seriously. So, with the average person out there, are there lucky numbers? If
No.
if you're born on the 11th day, there's no such thing as that.
There's no vibration, as I said. There's
Yeah.
no lucky number. This is the original form of counseling. And when I work with people, it's really because they have a problem of some sort. Where here we're just having some fun. But the idea is to use this as a basis to better understand a person and help them out in their life.
Now, do you have a website or something if people want to talk to you?
YogiAkal.com, or if they want to learn it, numerologyprofessor.com.
All right.
there. There we go.
Interesting.
all right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's not right, but it's interesting.
This is Chicago's very own, the best of WGN Morning News.
Our next dating expert can tell love by the numbers. He's a master of numerology. Please welcome Yogi Akal.
So explain your background. How do you become a master of numerology?
Well, in my case, it started off in a funny way. I was actually living with somebody about 40 years ago. I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
And they were studying astrology and numerology and batik and macrame and all these odd things. And I wanted to prove how wrong they were and how silly they were.
Oh.
So I went out and studied it just to make a point. It didn't work. It went the other way. I ended up learning about it and realizing that it was a really serious work. And I became very good at it. And then in the 1990s, I learned the Eastern system of numerology, which is the yogic system, which is very unique. And in the old-fashioned traditional way, I was given the torch. I was made the master of the system. Now it's my job to make it available to everybody else.
Okay, so show us how numerology works, because this is fascinating. You can actually, based on your birth date, you can pair your ultimate loved one?
Well, first of all, the birthday has absolutely no special meaning.
Okay.
There's no superstition or ritual or vibration or energy to it. It just marks the starting point on a map. That's it. It's where you begin. So if you're traveling somewhere and you're in Chicago, you're starting from Chicago, no matter where you're going. And your birthday is the same thing. It's your starting point. Now, in a relationship, that's the same thing. You have two starting points, and you want to be able to get a sense of what the timing is. Timing is everything, and what the characteristics are and what the potential is. Sometimes getting a different perspective, such as this one, can be very, very helpful. I usually work with people after there's been a problem. So they're looking for me to help resolve something, looking for a different perspective. Prevention's always better. How to look ahead to what's possible for you and what to look for in your life.
Okay, well, G, when's your birthday?
April 23rd, 1978.
Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know, you're at a stage in your life which was really beautiful. You have actually dropped all the problems in your life. So you've got a decision to make this year. You're either going to carry forward dysfunctions that you may have picked up earlier on in life, or you're going to drop them all now.
Now, like in the next week or two?
Now, like
today?
Before you leave the show today, you should let it all go.
Before the show today?
Does anybody have a cell phone? She's going to make a call.
That just made chills shoot through my body.
Well, that's a good thing. That's what should be happening to you every day, because you're at that stage of life now. It's a very unique situation for you. Whatever has happened before now, you can let go of. So you have new opportunities every day. And you're the type of person who you can be very kind, but you can also react. And you're going to have a constancy in your life. It's really important for you to have that, a kind of a neutrality. When you have that neutrality, people will respect you tremendously. And when you lose the neutrality, you end up spending 3 or 4 weeks wondering what happened. The beautiful part is you're very affectionate, you're very intelligent, and you're very magnetic.
You can tell all that by a birthday.
Okay, well, let's see what you can tell by Ryan. What's your birthday again?
October 12th. Thanks, Val.
That's all right.
October 12th, 1977.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
There's a deep sigh. If there's a deep sigh, you know that's
having a
trouble.
massive heart attack or something.
Everything you have to learn is happening this year. This is it.
You're talking about love-wise, right?
No, I'm talking about your whole life. Everything you have to learn is this year. So every day that something happens, you go, right, this is something I have to learn. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. And later in the year, after September 22nd, after the shift of the seasons, yeah, put that in your calendar.
Okay. Got it.
You need to think ahead 10 years. You know, I've told this story a bunch of times, but you know, there was a group of American business people that went to visit the Japanese in their financial heyday, and they asked the elders, do you plan ahead? And the Japanese said, yes, we do, of course. And they said, how far? And they said, so sorry, only 300 years. Well, you need to plan ahead 10 years. Not 1, not 2. Don't listen to your mother. Don't listen to anybody else. You plan ahead where you want to be in the year 2024, 25. And every decision that you make should be oriented towards achieving that. It's not the same thing as having a vision or a goal. It's having a plan. It's like having an architect look at a finished building and say, that's the direction that I want to go in. And not only will you be able to learn everything you need to learn this year, but you'll also change your life this year. It's not that there's something wrong. That's not the point. The whole purpose of life is progress. So change is always good. It's always good. And that's what this year's all about for you.
All right.
When it comes to relationships, you're just very creative.
Process of elimination, that means somebody's next, but after the break, that would be me and somebody in our audience. Stay with us.
All right, we are back with Yogi Akal and his love by the numbers. We're talking about numerology. We've been talking about dating for the entire hour. You have read me. You have read G. That leaves one person left.
Yeah.
And I have your birthday already,
Okay.
so we can save some time.
Okay.
And there are 2 things to say about you right off the bat. One is that this is the year of your soul. This is the year 2013, right now, is the year for you to be inspired and inspiring. So anything that's in your life that is not inspiring, goodbye. Anything that you do that is not inspiring, don't do it. It has to have that positive, uplifting essence to it. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, it is not the right time. Because you know what happens to you. When things get a little negative, they get very negative. And you cannot afford that. You know, there's that old saying that you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. You can't afford the luxury of an uninspired thought.
But what about her relationships, Yogi? Do you see
Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Is it?
Stay there.
Okay. I plan on it.
Stay put.
Okay.
She's actually engaged, so that's a good thing for Jeff.
Stay put.
Good job, Jeff.
Stay put.
All right, well, let's go to the audience. G is with an audience member. G?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. You know what? I'm here with a couple, Tom and Sharon. So, Yogi, do you have anything you have to say to them?
How long have you been in a relationship?
35 years.
35 years. So you're not going to ask me if you're compatible?
No.
What are the things that you should know? What's your name, sir?
Tom.
Tom. What you should know is that a woman is a completely different human being every 2.5 days. Completely different. And she does many things at the same time, where a man can only do one thing at the same time. So you have to know that about the woman in your life, and you can measure it. A man shifts every week. He goes up and down week by week. But a woman, every 2.5 days, completely different human. You can track that for yourself and find some constancy in your life. You have, this year, a lot of celebrating to do. There have been some setbacks at some point, but this is a year for you to celebrate. There are going to be some financial developments, and there's going to be some promotions. Now, I'm not a psychic, so I'm not predicting. I'm simply looking at the cycles of your life. And both of you are in the same cycle. The good news behind that is that when you're both up, you're both up. The bad news is when you're both down, you're both down. So you need to have lots of friends around you right now, because as you go through this year, you're going to get criticized, you're going to get promoted. You're going to have opportunities to make more money, and you're going to be worried about money. You've got to let all of that go and just thoroughly, compassionately, and gratefully celebrate your life.
And Yogi had these numbers, just so you all know at home, you had their birthdays before you were given it, so you were able to do this based on numbers there.
I didn't read it off your forehead.
Yeah.
We've become very good friends, very short amount of time. I like what you have to say. Tell me more.
You gotta wait till the commercial break. We got one more real fast.
One more, G?
Yes, we've got Laverne here. Laverne, you want to stand up? Or
Yes.
you want to stand up?
Yes.
Okay, this is Laverne.
Hi, how are you?
This is a fascinating year for you because you're starting to feel a little bit heavy. And sometimes when people feel like that, it's because they're at the very tail end of a very, very long process of learning in their life. And you are at the tail end of it. So you have one more year where it feels like you're walking through water sometimes. Everything might be bright and shiny, but still it doesn't quite move the way you want it to. That's released next year. So in 2014, it's as if you're waking up, like the sun is rising. We can all break into song here for you. And the beautiful part about it is that you are so caring, you are so creative, you are so giving in your life. I don't mean giving foolishly. I mean, you like to be of service. It's really a pleasure for you.
Yeah, and Yogi, we're just about out of time,
Good.
so I got to cut you off, and I feel bad for doing that. Maybe you two can speak after the show. But if you want to find out more about Yogi, visit our website for all the links there.